Today we will be today and tomorrow we'll be completing the cloud fundamentals that are really required to start your journey into Azure. Okay. Tomorrow at some point of time, what we'll be doing is that you'll be creating a free trial account in using Azure. Okay. And the third thing what you are going to do is we'll be learning the core and the fundamental services that are really required to start your journey in Azure. Okay, so we'll be seeing what are those core services that I'm talking about. Okay, and then what we are going to do is we are also going to focus. We are also going to focus the data services that Azure supports, and then we'll start slowly getting into the data engineering fundamentals of Azure. The data engineering fundamentals of Azure. Okay, and another thing that I want you to keep you updated is you should be aware of the data fundamentals. You should be aware of the cloud uh, core services fundamentals. You need to understand what is your Azure global architecture. Once you understand these things, and you should be in a position to create your free trial account using Azure. Okay, once you are done with all these particular things, then will you should be good with the familiarity of your Azure account, Azure portal. Then we'll start getting into things. So the first 3 days is going to be a very neat way of demonstrating the things using Azure. Okay, once you are get used to this technology and other things, then what we'll do is that we start getting into the deep dives of your Azure data engineering pipelines with Databricks and the Power BI. This is how we are going to do. Okay. So as I have told you, we'll be focusing on 3 certifications. So within the first 2-3 weeks itself, you can have the option of clearing out your AZ 900. Okay. Once you are done with that one, the Azure data fundamentals also you can complete. Then we'll start focusing on your Azure Data Engineering 203, which is going to be the entire core part of your curriculum. Okay. So in case before I start anything, in case if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and then start the curriculum here. Okay. Already I have told you what is the cloud computing, right? Cloud computing means nothing will be there on premise. Everything happens to be in the cloud. Okay. From the cloud, what you can do is that you can have the option of receiving everything on demand. That means that you want to have your servers, computing servers, you want to have your memory, networking, and all the other things. You can have the option of uh, procuring those services on demand, and then you can utilize them whenever you require. You can utilize them whenever you require. Okay, that's the reason we use this particular term called as cloud computing. So, for example, what happens here? Someone else owns the servers. Okay, I see Kishore and Kishore with the same name. Are they one or they are two? I just want to understand. Okay, so someone else hides the IT people. We are not doing anything. And third thing is that someone else pays for the rent for the all your data centers and all those particular things. You are responsible for only configuring cloud services only, and someone takes care of the rest. You focus only on your uh, code and your applications, and the rest will be taken care by other people. This is what is your cloud providers. That means that you need to have only the laptop or the computer and the internet connection in order to use these particular services on demand. And the other thing what I have told you is pay as you go. So but in the case of on-premise, these are all your data centers. There you own the servers, you hire your IT people, you pay and rent the real estate, and then you to take up all the risk. This is what is your on-premise, and this is what is the difference between your cloud providers, basically. Okay. In cloud computing, you have two things here. A dedicated server. Suppose if you have your laptop or a desktop in your office or in your home, that is what is your dedicated server. One physical machine is dedicated to a single. Okay, it is very expensive, high maintenance, and then high security is really required. And what is your virtualization here? I have told you, right? You have your one machine, okay, but what we can do is that we can try to virtualize into multiple submachines so that on each machine we can have the option of running different applications basically. That is what is your VPS, virtual private server. Okay, on this particular virtual private server, if hundreds of businesses are running, then what we do is that we call this one as shared hosting in this case. We call this one as shared hosting in this case, which is very cheap and very limited in this particular case. Which is very cheap and very limited in this particular case. Now, other thing what you are having here is you have this cloud hosting. What is this cloud hosting here? Multiple physical machines that can act as one system. Okay, but multiple businesses can use this particular cloud. Okay, so this is what is your on-premise shared hosting. But here, what you are having here is that this is something that can pay multiple users at the same time.
But I have scanners.
Now, the thing what you are having is, see, is everybody saying, are you able to hear my voice and everybody? Harish, Arun, Jay Kumar.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, here, I have been telling you something like for every cloud service provider, we are having 4 or 5 core services that we use. Those core services are nothing but your fundamental services. Okay. The first thing is compute. What is this compute basically? It is nothing but a CPU. It is nothing but a processor. It is nothing but your cores, CPU cores. So this is the compute that you need to have. If you want to execute something, you need to have this compute. And for the purpose of storing your information, you need to have your storage. You need to have your storage. And one more thing is that it is not only one computer, right? It will be multiple, it will be thousands and hundreds of computers. So when thousands and hundreds of computers are working together, they need to communicate with each other. Okay. Such type of communication can happen with the help of this networking. So that's why networking is very important. And what you need to have is that you need to have this databases also as well, because when you want to store all your data in the relational form that can be used for your reports and analytical applications, what we need to have is that we need to have this database that should exist. We need to have the database that should exist. So that's why we need to use this databases also as well. Okay. But one thing what I'm saying is, apart from all these particular things, there is one more thing that is important is nothing but your security. Security is important because since we are going to host all our information and applications within a cloud, automatically what happens is that information should be secured. That's why we need to be talking about the permissions and security to protect our information within the cloud. That's the reason we also need to talk about the security aspect also as well. So, what are those 5 common services that we need to have? One is compute, the second one is storage, third one is networking, fourth one is database, and fifth one is security. These are 4 things. So here you need to understand one thing. The term cloud computing can be used to refer all these categories, even though it has compute in the name, because we need to have these 5 services that should be used in order to use these services effectively in this particular case. Okay, so I hope you have understood the purpose of this particular program. That is, within the first 2 weeks, I sincerely request everyone to appear for that AG 900 certification. Whoever are serious, it's not compulsory, but whoever are passionate in completing these 3 certifications, they're welcome. Okay. Now, what is this Microsoft? An American multinational company headquartered in Washington. See, uh, it also provides these cloud services also as well, a search engine and more. Okay, it was there in 1970s, and then it is well known for their operating system, Windows. This is what is Microsoft. Now, what is Azure? Microsoft calls their cloud service provider called as Microsoft Azure, commonly referred to as Azure. Azure means bright blue color of the cloudless sky. Bright blue color of the cloudless sky. And this Azure, AWS, and then Google Cloud services, what you're having here, they're treated as cloud service providers. They're basically treated as cloud service providers in this particular case. Cloud service providers. Cloud service providers. So you know what is Microsoft, you know what is Azure, and what are the core common services of your cloud, along with what is this the the legacy of your computing that has started. Okay, in all these particular things, you have something called as virtual. Can anybody tell me? See, in networking we have virtual, in compute you have virtual, in storage we have virtual, in database also we have virtual. So, Jaykumar, can you tell me what is this virtual actually mean?
Actually, Ravi, it's not physically existing. We are virtually computing and virtually we are assigning the mission, not a physical location we have it.
Yeah, physically we really don't have anything. Okay, but what is really going to happen is, uh, see, if we have one CPU, okay, if we have something like some 100 GB of storage, what you are having, one laptop, one computer system, what you are having here, that will be basically used by multiple sub virtual machines. That will be used by I told you, right? One physical system dedicated to a single business is virtualized into submissions. That means that if we have a one Windows operating system as a host, okay, on that one you can run three machines: one Windows, one Linux, and one Mac system you can run. So what is going to happen is that all the resources what you're having on that particular computing system is going to be shared by multiple submissions what you're having here. Okay, that means that this is nothing but an illusion. Okay, even though when you have only a single system, okay, you can have the capability of running multiple different applications, operating systems on the single machine, which is called as virtualized, what we really call that. Okay, so these are the things that we are having here. Now, benefits of the cloud computing system. Cost effective. This is very important. The highlighting is one. You pay for what you consume. Okay. And then there is something called as no upfront cost. What do you mean by no upfront cost? Because you are not going to purchase that computer, right? You use that computer and pay for how many minutes or seconds or hours you are using, and pay for that one, and then you are done. Okay. And then global launch. That means that you are in India, you can have the option of launching those particular resources in US. You are in US, and then you can have the option of launching those resources in Australia. That means that you can launch these resources anywhere in the world. That's why it is called as global. Third one, what you're having is security. Okay. Security means it doesn't trust anybody. So that's why we need to make sure that it provides that. See, there are two things. If your data is there within the cloud, you need to take care of the data security. But if as a cloud provider, they need to take care of the physical security of those data centers and everything. Okay, so that's why it is a shared responsibility that we are going to have, which we'll be discussing. Reliable means these things, the data backup, disaster recovery, and everything will be taken care by cloud itself, so that we can 100% trust those particular cloud service providers. Scalable. That means that you are running a powerful workload, okay, processing some gigabytes or terabytes of information. You are using only three CPUs, okay. Assuming that those three CPUs are not sufficient, then what you can do is that you can increase your capacity, okay, uh, in order to match that particular workload. And once the workload is completed, you can try to decrease that capacity, computing capacity. You can try to decrease. That is what is called as scalable. Increase or decrease resources based on the workload here. Elastic, I have told you, right? Automatic scaling. Automatic scaling means I told you, right? Elastic is nothing but a rubber band. You can stretch it as well as you can try to squeeze it also as well, shrink it. That is what is your elastic rubber band. So these are all the benefits of your cloud computing. Understanding like it is cost effective, it is global, it is secure, it is reliable. You can have the option of scaling it up and scaling it down, and then the current, because when you are see current in the sense when you have an operating system in your laptop, what you need to do is that you need to apply the patches. Okay, so similarly what happens is that all the operating systems and applications what you're having here will be upgraded to the latest versions automatically by the cloud service provider. That's why it is current. These are all the different benefits of your cloud computing platform. Now, what are the three types of cloud computing what you're having here? SaaS. See here, this is what is the general term that you're having here. A service for the customers. Don't worry about how the service is maintained. It just works and remains available. Like Gmail, who has developed and then who is behind the scenes working on those particular things, kindly don't focus. What you generally do is that you focus on what is really required and then start using that one. That is what is your SaaS. Okay. Now, IaaS, what is that one here? The basic building blocks of IT provide access to the networking features, computers, and data storage space. Don't worry about the IT staff, data centers, and this one. Everything will be procured, and then you can use this as infrastructure as a service. Now, in the case of PaaS, what happens here? Don't worry about this provisioning, configuring, and understanding the hardware and software. Focus on the deployment and management of your applications. Here, you worry about your applications and the development when you use PaaS. Here, don't worry for anything, just use that one. But here, they provide you the motherboard and all those things, the basic things they will provide you. But you need to take care of installing the operating system. See, the major thing is that in the case of IaaS, you need to install your operating system. In the case of PaaS, operating system is already there. In the case of SaaS, operating system and applications and everything is already there, and then you need to maintain this. This is what? What is this CSP? What is this CSP basically about?
Cloud service providers.
Yes, CSP is nothing but your cloud service provider. Okay. So what is really happening is on-premise, who is responsible? On-premise?
Our own administrator.
Every company is responsible.
On-premise,
Customers.
customer is really responsible for everything. When you take this software as a service, only your cloud service provider is responsible for everything. Platform as a service, as I have told you, right? It is basically for development. You only focus on your applications and data, nothing else. Infrastructure, operating system onwards, it is your responsibility. And this virtualization and everything is your CSP responsibility, basically. Okay. Now, what are those deployment models that we talked about? Public cloud, private cloud, and then hybrid cloud. Azure is public cloud or private cloud?
It's a public cloud.
Azure is a public cloud. Why is it called as a public cloud?
It's
offers
globally
cloud
available for
services to multiple customers.
Yeah, it is used by multiple customers around the globe. That's why it is publicly available. That's why it is public cloud. It is used by multiple customers. Multiple customers across the globe starts using the cloud services. That's why it is public. Private cloud uses this open stack concept, and which is your on-premise data center, which is your private cloud. But in that one also, you need to have this virtualization. This cloud can be an open stack, which is the virtualization that should be there. Hybrid in the sense, you have your public cloud and then this private cloud. As I have told you, right? When you talk about some insurance companies or healthcare companies, okay, private personal identifiable information will be there. That is PIA information will be there. As per the HIPAA rules, they are not supposed to share that information across the people. That's the reason what we do is that we try to keep the sensitive information within your on-premise data center, and what are something that can be available to the general public, we'll try to keep it within your Azure network or in your public network. This is what is your hybrid basically. Okay, but as a part of our data engineering activities, we'll be using both the on-premise data versus your public data also we are going to use. That's why you'll be focusing most on this public and hybrid networks we are going to follow. Then tell me, public cloud is happens to be most cost effective because your information, your resources cost are going to be shared across multiple users and multiple accounts. That's why it is most cost effective. Okay, and then technical knowledge, you don't need to know the depth of your underlying architecture because you are not the staff. You are not the staff for that one. Private cloud, which is most expensive, most expensive. The only one advantage what you're having is you can configure the infrastructure however you like. But when you try to go for this hybrid, you get best of the both worlds you can get basically, but could be more cost effective based on what you offer to the cloud. So there are some advantages and disadvantages, but you see here, level of configuration is good with respect to this private cloud and this one, but public cloud, when you see here, this is most cost effective because there is no capital expenditure. But here, the other advantage what you're having is that you don't need to have the in-depth knowledge of your underlying infrastructure in this particular case. Underlying infrastructure in that particular case. That's why this happens to be more effective in this particular paradigm. Then coming back, what are your deployment models here? Cloud, cross cloud. That means that you have your Amazon EKS Kubernetes service, Arc is there, and then this Kubernetes engine is there. So when you try to use multiple cloud providers in order to run your applications, which is very rare, in such a case, we try to use this particular hybrid cloud. Especially the DevOps people will be really focusing on such type of applications. Basically, DevOps people will really focusing on this particular applications here in this case. Okay, now what is this one? Total cost of ownership. See here, capital expenditure. These are all the things that you're going to have here. What are all the things here? Because there are some things which will not be really known to you, and there are some things which will be on the top of this iceberg. When you can see here, the IT personal maintenance, hardware, physical security, training, configuration, what you're having here is nothing but your these things. But the software licenses, what you're having here is something which will be shown here, basically. So that's why in the case of CapEx, what you're having is on-premise. You're going to have this more in this particular case, but in the case of this OPEX, what you're having is that this is something which is really required here. So you're going to have something like 75% of savings that we use, okay, when dealing with this total cost of ownership between the on-premise versus this CapEx versus OpEx basically. Because we need to pay only for the subscriptions that we use in the case of this CapEx versus OpEx. Any questions so far?
Yeah, it shows the AWS, right? What means savings?
Basically, it is Azure only, basically.
Azure,
Any
okay.
cloud provider for that matter. Any cloud
Okay.
provider for that particular matter. It would be 75% of the savings that you get with respect to these two things, basically. Is that clear to you?
Yes, clear.
Cool.
OPEX means it's a CapEx is capital expenditure.
Operational expenditure.
Operational expenditure. Okay.
That means that month by month you need to do all your maintenance activities, right? Basically,
Correct.
that is what is called as operational expenditure. What we call, and the total of your capital expenditure plus your operational expenditure should be your total cost of ownership, basically. Okay.
Got it.
What we do in this particular case. Now, as I told you, right, spending money upfront on the physical infrastructure, basically. Okay. But what you do is that you will be deducting that expense from your tax bill over time. These are all your costs, what you're going to have here. With the capital expenditure, you have to guess upfront what you plan to spend. What you plan to spend. But I told you, right, the cost associated with an on-premise data center has shifted to the cost of the service provider. That means that what is that one here? Your cloud. the customer has to be concerned with non-physical costs, training of the employees, billing based on this cloud metrics. How do you get this particular billing? The billing you'll get it for something like compute usage and then storage usage. So I can try to show you. How do you definitely get this particular billing. Suppose when you try to see this one here, you see here. See, your AWS account has exceeded 85% of the usage limit for this particular month of December. Like that, they'll give you. This is what is your monthly you'll be spending, right? That's why it is called as the operating expenses, what you call. So that means that with the operating expenses, you can try a product of the service without investing in the equipment, basically. Okay. Now, what is availability? Your ability to maintain service accessibility uptime. Like you are running an application. Okay. When you're running an application and that application is down, that means that it is not highly available. Scalability means I have told you, right? Depending on the load. Suppose when you go for the Christmas season or the Black Friday, Thanksgiving, when so many customers start hitting your website, what you need to have? You need to have more servers in the backend trying to take up the load. Okay, so you need to increase or decrease automatically based on the workload what you're having here. So if it supports rapid growth without any performance issues, then this is what is called as scalability. Right now, America is saturated. For example, right? So many people are coming from other places like India and other places to do MS here, right? To do MS here. Okay. When other people are coming here to do this particular MS, automatically what is happening is there is a saturation that has happened. Okay. Scalability means depending on the number of customers that we get, we should have the jobs or the candidates that are coming, we should have the jobs. That is what is your scalability. Elasticity, as I have told you, right? Allocate and deallocate based on the demand is what is called as this elasticity. Okay. Disaster recovery means when there are major outages, like in our company, like Disney, last year, this year itself, we have a major outage. Okay. People in India and US started working round the clock for almost a week or so, more than that one, to bring the things back into action and then supporting the applications. Okay. So such type of disaster recovery is what is called as the abnormal situations that you can sure. So we need to make sure that in the case of this catastrophic events, the data integrity and availability should be there. So especially when we are staying in Florida, what happens is that we will be frequently hit by hurricanes and cyclones and thunderstorms. Okay, when such a type of thing is coming, when the cloud data centers itself they get shut down, automatically the applications will not work, right? Basically, so in such a case, we need to have, suppose if we have a data center in Miami or Florida, okay, obviously what we do is that we'll be having another center that will be there in something like Virginia or something like in the Pacific East Coast, West Coast, so that if this is down, that will be up and running in order to support the applications. So that is what is called as ability to recover from your major outages is what is called as your disaster recovery in the case of this particular applications, which is really important. So I have told you, right? High availability means I have told you, right? Your ability for the service to remain available by ensuring that there is no single point of failure. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by no single point of failure? What do you mean by that one?
Having more than one access point so that if one goes down, the other one will be available.
Yeah, if one goes down, the other one should be available. So, for example, okay, right now I have message from Visualsoft saying something like, please wait for some time. Students are not able to access the class because of having some issues. There might be some outage issue that Zoom might be having. Basically, in such a case, what we need to have is that in order to keep the things running business as usual, we call that one as BAU, business as usual. What we need to do is that we need to keep the things running. Okay, in order to keep the things running, what we'll be doing is we want to have another alternative that should exist. That is being done with the help of this load balancers. That means that it will distribute the traffic to multiple centers. That means that if a data center becomes unavailable, the load balancer will route the traffic to other available data centers with this particular servers. With respect to this particular server, that is what is called as high availability. That means that your application should be up and running all the time. Should be up and running all this particular time. Okay, suppose on a Black Friday or any other promotional day, okay, if Amazon, Flipkart server is down because lakhs and billions of requests will be hitting that server, right? That means that if your backend servers does not support that much load, automatically what happens is that there is a disaster. That's why, in order to make sure that you have the high availability and no single point of failure, we need to use something called as this load balancers that we need to use. Scalability, as I have told you, right? Two types of scaling. One is vertical scaling and then horizontal scaling. Can anybody tell me the difference? What is vertical scaling and horizontal scaling? I'll ask you.
Increasing the storage capacity and RAM size is a vertical scaling. Additionally, adding the resources is called horizontal.
So, yeah, sir, thank you. Suppose in this one, if I have this 101 GB is there, okay? Now I want to extend this one to something like 1 terabyte. Is this horizontal or vertical?
So vertical.
This is vertical. Now, suppose when I go and then go to these properties, and then when you see something like it is showing something like 8 GB of RAM is there. I want to increase it to 16 GB. That is vertical storage. That means that vertically you'll be having certain limit that you can use. Basically, that is what is your vertical limit that you can do here. But trying to add more and more nodes in order to distribute the load, add more servers of the same shape, that is what is called as horizontal scaling, which is called as scaling out. And vertical scaling is what is called as scaling up. This is the thing that we need to do. Scaling up and scaling out is something that we need to really understand. Okay, this is what is your high scalability that we need to use. Then high elasticity. Told you, right? Scale out and scale in. Adding more servers is what is called as scaling out, and scaling is something like removing more servers of the same size is what is called as scale in. Scaling in and scaling out. That is what is your thing that we need to do with respect to the scaling, horizontal scaling, which is called as high elasticity. Automatically should happen. Okay, removing servers or adding servers of the same size is what is called as horizontal scaling and horizontal scaling basically. Okay, can anybody tell me any example of this horizontal scaling?
Horizontal.
I told you, right? In Flipkart,
Yes, yes.
Amazon,
Billion days we are going to add servers automatically using auto
Yeah.
scaling.
that is what is called as your horizontal scaling. So here, scaling out and scaling in. Here, what you're having is that scaling up and scaling out. These are the two things that you need to remember, which are really, really important from the cloud practitioner point of view. What to talk about? I told you, right? I have a primary server which is down. Then automatically, what will happen here is that I need to have the secondary thing that should come up in order to take out that particular failure. In order to take out that particular failure, which is called as your failure capability. See here, the ability to withstand and recover from unexpected failures, okay, and downtime. Ensuring uninterrupted operation and minimal downtime is what is your failure capability. Okay, so databases crash out there. You see something like the database is getting crashed, or else the servers getting down, something of that sort that is really happening. Okay, in such a case, what we need to do is that they need to provide another backup to make sure that this thing will happen, so that this will start acting as primary basically. That is what is called as failover. I told you, right? Shifting the traffic from the primary to the redundant system when issues occur. This is what is called as this one. And the thing that is responsible is something like your Azure Traffic Manager, which is really responsible. Okay. Now, durability. What is the durability here? See, sometimes what really happens is that your file is lost. You're working in an organization, you are working in a production environment, and then assuming that your data is lost. What will you do in case if your data is lost? You can't tell to the customer something like your data is lost, right? The reason why you cannot tell that one is that you need to come up with a disaster recovery plan. What is a disaster recovery plan? Do you have the backup? If yes, how fast you can restore that particular backup? And then does your backup still work? And then how do you ensure that current live data is not correct? This is what is your high durability. This is what is your high durability that you need to understand. So these are all the features that you are having with respect to this cloud architecture terminologies. Availability, scalability and elasticity are the same. Okay, scalability means adjust resources, but dynamically adjusting those resources is what is called as elasticity, and then sustain functionality despite all these particular failures is called as fast tolerance. And disaster recovery means even if the disaster happens, you should be in a position to recover from that particular failure is what is called as your disaster recovery in the case of this cloud computing based. Okay, now elasticity I have told you, and these things what we have seen here. Now, evolution of computing. So first thing is that if this is your dedicated server, what you're having here, you have your host operating system, you have your apps, and then this is what is your wasted space. Physical server wholly utilized by a single customer, like your laptops and desktops in your office and your home. They are basically your physical things that we want to use. Now, you have to guess your capacity, otherwise you have to pay for your underutilized server. Like I told you, right? My computer is having something like how much? 250 GB of RAM, 250 GB of hard disk. Okay, still 110 GB is left. If it still fills, what should I do? I have no eyes. Either I need to extend this one, or else I need to do this one. Upgrading beyond your capacity will be slow and expensive. You are limited by your operating system. Okay, multiple applications can result in conflicts. Okay, but you have a guarantee of security, privacy, and full utility of your operating system, because you are only the person who will be utilizing this one. Okay, now uh, I'll be talking about this dedicated VMs and functions. Containers I don't talk right now because containers is a bit confusing. I will talk about this particular containers in a while. VMs. What is being done here? You have this host operating system. We have your hypervisor, and how many systems are running here? See, if this host operating system happens to be Windows, this can be Linux, this can be Windows, or else this can be Mac also as well. But what we are
I've attended the class.
sorry?
Online.
Online.
So see here, when you have this host operating system, what is really happening is your memory, your one minute actually. This is your virtual box. So within this virtual box, what happens is that whatever the machines that you create here, you can create these virtual machines here. VM1, VM2, and VM3 you can create here. Okay, when you create this particular virtual machines, what happens is that the whole memory, operating system, and network bandwidth what you're having here will be utilized by all these virtual machines here. So it is called as virtualization here. See here, what I have told you here. A physical server shared by multiple customers. You pay for the fraction of the server. Okay, you are limited by your guest operating system. Multiple apps on the single virtual machine can result in conflicts in resource sharing. Basically, this is what is the problem with respect to this virtual machines. Containers don't focus right now, but because it is something like Docker and Kubernetes, but which we'll talk at a later point of time. Functions is important. Can somebody tell what do you mean by serverless here in this case? What do you mean by really the serverless?
Lambda function kind of thing automatically create infrastructure what they need while
Kadnana, how do you define serverless?
serverless.
Physically, we are not maintaining any server.
Serverless interface. No. See, serverless means
We are computing over the data instead of data sending it to the server operations, computing on over the data. Yeah.
so.
Sorry.
So basically, what is really happening is, I'll tell you, Jay Kumar. Thank you. What I'm saying is, you have, see, when you want to build an application, what you want to have here, you need to have a laptop. Okay, you want to have the CPU, you have the operating system, you have the compiler, and you have that memory. Once all these things are provisioned, then only you will write the program and then compile and then execute the program, basically, right, Jay Kumar?
Yes, Ravi. Yeah.
So, but with the help of serverless, what you do is that you just only write the code in the notepad. That's it. Whatever program it is. Then you bring that code and then submit it to the cloud. Bring that cloud and you bring that code and then submit it to the cloud. When you submit that one to the cloud, what really happens is cloud will provision those resources at the time of execution. Will provision those resources at the time of execution. That is what is called as cloud serverless computing. I told you, right? You remember? I was telling you something like event marriages, event handlers. Like when you want to have a destination wedding, okay, there is no need for you to talk about that mandapam, invitations, lunch, all those things, food and all those things that you need to, no need to bother, because you pay the money, they'll take care. Okay. Similarly here, you bring your code and the cloud provider will take care of providing you all the resources at the time of execution, and you pay only for that provisioning at runtime. That is what is called as serverless. That means that there is no need for you to maintain any of these computing systems, memory, hardware, networking, and all those things before hand itself. At the time of execution, say, cloud service provider will take care of providing you those particular things, and then you can just pay for the execution what you are doing. That is what is called as serverless. Jaikumar, is that clear to you?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Now I got it.
This is what is called as serverless in this particular case. Now, global infrastructure. This is what is important. So I'll tell you here 1 minute. You see this diagram here? Jaikumar, can you see the screen here?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
That means that all the places where you are having here, this is the place where you are having your data centers of your Azure that has been set up. In the sense, in the sense that across the world, you have your geographies. Within those geographies, you have the regions, and within the regions, you have this availability zones. We'll be seeing that. That means that the presence of Azure is felt everywhere. The presence of Azure, what you're having here, is felt everywhere in this particular case here. It's felt everywhere in this particular case. I just want to demonstrate one thing to show you this diagram here. 1 minute. Launching this AWS Global Infrastructure Experience. How many countries? 140 countries. Helps you invent your purpose. Through constant innovation, self-development, secure that you can trust. Explore the cool minutes of global infrastructure. Explore the globe. When you explore the globe, you can see something like legends. I just want to see the geographies. Okay, you can see here, this is the places where all your geographies and other things are existing here. Suppose when you go here and then check here, this is East Asia that is available. These are all the places that you're having here. These are all the places where your regions and other things are present. So when you go here and then when you see here, you have these geographies having the regions, and within the regions you have all these ground stations, WAN problems, and all the other things are there, and then you have the sustainability projects that are really existing here. You just want to take this particular experience, take this link, and then you'll be able to appreciate whatever is really having this particular case here in this case, please. Anyway, I'm not really going into this one, but you can see this one, the data centers that you're having in this Microsoft Azure. What is that Azure basically? What I told you in the beginning. What is the meaning of Azure?
It's a public cloud provider.
It is a
Cloud provider, public cloud provider.
Cloud network.
I told you, right? It is having something like blue cloud, something I have told
Blue
you, right?
clouds, blue cloud sky.
Yeah. This is your global infrastructure that I told you. See this one here. First, I have told you, you're going to have something called as geographies. What are those geographies that you can see at United States, Azure government, Canada, Mexico, and Brazil that you're having here. What is that one here? A region is a group of multiple data centers. We have how many regions, Vinita? What we are having here? How many regions we have? 58 data, 58 regions we are having. And then it is available across 140 countries. A geography is a discrete market of 2 or more regions that provides data residency and contains boundaries. Okay, this is the geography, and then within the geography you have these regions. Then I told you, right? You can select this tomorrow we'll be seeing what exactly are these things, the regions, and then we have this particular geographies that exist. So each region is paired up with another region 300 miles away. Okay, now you're going to have something like disaster recovery centers are going to be there also as well. And disaster recovery centers means replicate data to the secondary region automatically, ensuring that data is durable even when even the primary region is not recoverable. Okay, then we have these region types and service availability. These things I think we'll start talking from tomorrow. Azure has special regions to compliance and legal regions like the Virginia government and all these things. These are all the governmental clouds, which are secret locations which will not be disclosed. And even when you talk about China, you know well about China, right? We'll not be able to maintain the data center state because it is there within the China network basically. Okay. Now we'll talk about these availability zones and the data centers and everything starting from tomorrow. Tomorrow, what I'll do is that I'll start creating this free trial account, making sure that you also will create, and then we go through these particular concepts and then navigate the portal once again to show you how exactly these things are going to happen in real time to make sure that you start getting into the hands-on with respect to these core services starting from Thursday or Friday. That's what is the goal is going to be. So tomorrow, what we'll be doing is we'll be talking about the how to create the free trial account using Azure. We'll be taking a tour of all your services that are available within your cloud Azure. And what we'll do is that we'll start talking about the told you right. There are 5 core services that we need to talk about. We'll be talking about all those particular things, slowly getting into the concepts, and then we'll be taking it from there. Okay. So any questions what you're having? Is everything clear to you? Ranjan, Ravi M, Mani, all those people?
Yeah, clear.
Yes, Ravi.
Madhu?
Yes, Ravi.
Ravi, one short question, sir. Can we get this PowerPoint slides for to go through it and to understand?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'll be sharing you that one. Please give me 2-3 days time, and then I'll be sharing you this one.
Okay. That's fine. That's all right.
Yeah, I'll be
Just want to check it's shareable. Right.
yeah, because I want all you people to completely understand and complete those certifications in order to make sure that you be ready for the job in 2024. That is my objective. So I'll share each and everything what is really required. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So who are all the people who have joined today as new?
Yeah, me Ravi. I'm the new to join.
What is your good name, sir?
Yeah, Kodishwara Kambu.
Yeah, welcome, sir. I hope you are following right what we are doing today.
Yeah, I am following.
Yeah. So first 2-3 classes will be like this. We'll be covering the theory, but tomorrow we'll be creating this particular Azure free trial account. We'll be navigating the Azure portal, and what we'll be doing is that we will be focusing on the core services. What are those core services that I talked about? Can anybody mention what are those core services?
Compute, storage,
Compute,
network,
storage, database.
Azure,
security.
There are 5 services. Yes, sir. There are 5 services. One is storage. The second one is security. The third one is compute. Fourth one is networking, and fifth one is database. And you need to have a good hands-on all these particular services before you start doing anything on these data services. Okay, so we'll be focusing on the data services that are really required, and we'll be taking a journey into this Azure Data Engineering. Okay, so kindly stay tuned, and we'll meet tomorrow, and then we'll take it from there. Before you,
Sir.
please let me know.
Hi, sir.
Hi,
Sir Ramu.
Raman.
Yeah, I have joined little late actually. It's been 8:40. I have joined, not able to connect. So I missed the early concept. So is there any prerequisites needed, sir? I mean, like any coding should be required for before joining this one?
Nothing is required. Nothing is required.
Okay.
Nothing is required. Everything will be dealt in the course itself. What is really required? I'll give you the complete fundamentals, complete hands-on. What is really required to make you comfortable before we move on to the topics. You can be comfortable in that one, sir. Basically, code career. Okay, I'll take care
So
of.
if it is possible, can you show what is the content here, sir? Like, what are the things? Once again, just in a minute, like, give me the brief. It is possible. What are the things you will be covering, sir?
What coverage you are talking about?
Syllabus content.
Syllabus content I'll be sharing. You, I think when you ask, you are from Visualpath.
Yes.
I think Visualpath already they have that content that is already shared, but they'll share you that content if you want.
Okay.
I can show you basically what I plan to cover here so that you can understand. The content is very, very heavy, sir. You'll be seeing this cloud basics, what we are doing right now. Jaykumar, this is what right now. We'll be doing this
Yes.
Right.
Azure Data Factory, on-premise data loads, file incrementals. We'll be seeing this Azure Databricks also as well. All the concepts what are there with respect to this Azure Databricks, and then we'll be covering that Power BI also as well. Power BI is also a very exhaustive course that will be covering here. Exhaustive course that will be covering here in this case. Basically. I think last 2 videos, if you focus, you'll be able to get an understanding, sir. These are all the contents that we're going to cover. And I think let me check if is there or not. I think Visualpath Triveni has left. I'll check with her and then I'll share you the content. Okay.
Yeah,
Your
okay.
name?
Sorry.
Your
Ramu.
good name?
Ramu, sir.
Okay. I'll inform them to share the content. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Rajesh. Visualpath will be sharing to you, Rajesh. You are from Visualpath.
No, I didn't come from Visualpath. I came through Naga.
Okay. You are from Charlie, my reference, right? Okay.
Yeah, I came through your personal reference. Yeah.
I'll share you those things basically. I'll share it to you, sir. No worries on that.
Okay. Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you.
Rajesh, please text your number in my WhatsApp and then do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hi, Ravi.
Madhukar, you are there?
Yes, Ravi.
Okay.
I hope you are following.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that's it for today. And tomorrow, what I'm going to do is we'll be creating a pre-trail account. we will be taking the tour of Azure portal, and I'll continue the core services and the remaining of your Azure cloud concepts to make you feel comfortable with respect to hands-on. And maybe from Thursday and Friday, we'll be creating some of these virtual machines and all those things, and we'll get accustomed to the technology before we get on to the other things. Okay. I thank you so much, and then you have a great today, and then tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Sure. Thank you, Ravi. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night, sir.
Thank you.